Okay, great. Question 241. Um, Helot, Helot Co or Helo Co, however you wish to go with that. Um, so this is all about target costing, and as usual, like I say, you should, I'm sure, of course, you've looked at the question, and you're just using mine to verify or clear up a few things. So target costing is very much about trying to establish or do better with the costs that you have. When I say do better, you can't do anything about the price. You have to find a way to reduce those costs and manage them. Nothing you can do about the price. Classic open market, open competition, price taking situations. So that's it. We have a target price of £45, and there is a target profit margin of 35%, and these are the costs you're dealing with. So you now have to kind of make things better. So you've read this again, like I say, so I'm just going to go straight to my spreadsheet to sort of show you how I've tackled this. So what I'm saying here is you have a target price of 45. That's the target margin, 35% of that. So the target cost, you have to make sure you're selling, your costings are as low as, if lower than or equal to 29.25. What is your current situation? Well, you've got materials here, labor, machining, setup and inspection, all at £15.30 so far. And then you have these overheads, these non-production costs here, that when you add together give you 5,600. And as you can imagine, you're making, it tells us that you've got 350,000. Well, I mean, these are in thousands, by the way. These are thousands. So 5.6 million, but I've just written 5,600. So the whole idea here is to split this over the 350,000 units, right? Because you have, it tells us that you have 350, that's the plan. So when you do that, split that over the 350,000, you have £16. So that's the overhead bit, if you like, on the non-production overhead bit. Take all this together, add it, and divide by the 350,000, the planned output, and then you get 16. So add those two together, this thing here, plus this, of course, becomes your full cost, which is £31.30. And you're currently making it for £29.25. So there is a gap. You need to bring this down from here to here, and that's the gap. The gap is £2.05. That's the gap. The gap is £2.05. So that's just the starting point to sort of see. And then so let's go to the questions. A bit of theory, but which is not a bad thing actually. That can be a good thing because you can somehow see the questions. So let's see. It's all about value. So it says, which of the following statements will the finance director have? As in, what are the good things? Why is target costing a good thing? Cost will be split between material, systems, delivery, and disposal. No, this is environmental costing. This is environmental management accounting. This has nothing to do with target costing. So it's not number one. We are going to tend to focus more on quality and costs in terms of decision making. So 2 is definitely correct. Its key concept is based on how to turn material to sales quickly in order to maximize net cash. No, I can't even think of that. I imagine that would be payback. Not sure what's going on there, but that's just a random. And here the key will be focused on designing out costs prior to production, exactly, rather than cost control. So we're trying to make sure we get it right from the start. So the answer is D, 2 and 4. This target costing is very much about making sure we're only working with value. We're trying to remove anything that's not value related, right? It's not value related. Take that out. So what's the new cost gap? We've worked that out already. It's £2.05, right? You saw me do it. You can rewind the video and watch that, but it's £2.05. So we've dealt with that. Just taking our time. Here, now, tell us that to explain, the whole idea is to explain to activities what can be undertaken to close a cost gap on computer games. So what can we do to just make sure we just get value, good value, but still minimize and reduce costs? Buy cheaper, low grade? No, we don't want to be doing that. No. So the answer is no here. This doesn't typically, well, I guess I could in this scenario. Sometimes it lets you do that, but then I'm going to have to come back in. That's the thing. So here, so no, not an appropriate, this is not an appropriate way. Not an appropriate way. Using standard components, yes, I mean they're standard, so we have to use, employ more trainee game designers. This would make sense, but I think this spoils it on lower salaries, and so this kind of means, well, you might not be getting as good labor quality as you as you should, and use their own gaming site. So the key point, we're trying to bring down costs. We're trying to bring down costs. So these guys will be both correct, and none of these. Cool, great. And that's kind of I'll just get rid of that. No. So that I just go back to my original page. Yes, it always tends to reload again. This is why I don't particularly like doing that, but anyway. So where are we here? We are here. Okay, let's just get there. Yeah. So we've done 2, we've done 3. Let's look at 4. So 4 is telling us that the direct labor cost has been, so the direct labor cost has been based on a, maybe I should actually just open that up a bit so you can sort of see what's going on here. Right, so it's telling us that, remember, so here's the thing. Imagine it takes 100 hours to make something. What the learning rate is telling us that if it's 90%, that means it takes, on average, if it took you 1 hour to make 100 hours to make the first item, it's telling you that on average it took you 90 hours to make the next 2. So really this is 100 hours in total to make the first one and 180 hours to make the next 2. So that's actually 80 hours to make the second one. What 95% learning rate is telling you is this, that the average there is 95, so technically 100, and here technically 190. So it actually took you 90 hours to make the second unit, right? 100 to make the first, 90 to make the second, which is why the average is 95. So when you see this increase, it actually means it's taking you longer to make the second unit, or you're not learning as fast. So the lower the rate, the lower the percentage, the faster it means you're actually learning, right? So in that knowledge, what are we saying? Now, the target cost is based on the selling price. The selling price hasn't changed. You were told that you had to sell this thing for 45 and they wanted 35% margin, which you had to do. And I think that nothing's changed there. Nothing. The target cost, what you're trying to reach hasn't changed. Right? Nothing has changed there. The issue is to do with your own internal processes. So it's either COD for now. But because somehow it's actually the cost of making this thing that you've now realized actually it's actually taking us longer. It's probably gone from 31.3 to maybe 33. The cost gap actually has increased. So the gap between what you're actually doing and the 29 point whatever, I'm just going to assume 5, which is what it has actually increased. You now have more work to do, given that you realize that your staff aren't learning as quick as they should. So your cost gap will increase as a result of this change. And very quickly, because we can see 5 here, Hello is thinking about expanding its business and doing a computer repair business. And the purchase, so which of the statements is true about the service sector, or about target customers? The purchase of a service transfers ownership to the customer. I don't even, that just doesn't make any sense on any grounds. It doesn't mean anything. That's impossible. No. Labor resource usage is high in services relative to material. Well, definitely, because services are all about human beings actually relating and speaking or connecting. So we're not really making, if you like, using kilograms and liters so much with services. So definitely this is correct. Standard service cannot be produced. Now that's not true. We can. It is harder, but we can produce a standard service even within the service sector. This is quite normal. You can, a standard cost of producing, taking care of a hotel room, standardize the whole thing. Harder, but possible. So this is not true, as in what they're telling us. The service characteristics include uniformity, perishability, and intent. Now the thing is, this isn't true. It's there's intangibility, but please have a read. These are not quite all of them. I'll reference you the right ones, but there is service characteristics. This one of them is missing. One of them is off here, and I haven't checked, but I know that one of them. I think I'm also using the process of elimination because I know this is true. But this is a bit of theory you can go back and read up on. The service characteristics do tend to have. It does tell us in the text, but I know there's intangibility and there's perishability. I think the odd one out is uniformity, so it's not that one. So the answer here is B anyway. Cool, great stuff, and that is question 241.